Hi, everybody. Kitty, get away from there. Straight off the bat, she's all up on it. Gonna knock the mic over. Yeah, sorry, I lost my phone and then I lost my coffee looking for the phone. I was trying to smoke. There was always something at the last minute. No, I left the phone on the kitchen counter. So, how's everybody doing tonight? Let me get this comment thing situated. I don't know, is there like a top comment thing on here too, or is that just on YouTube? Oh well. I have a lot of background tonight. My kid's in there watching his annoying videos, so see now I got it stuck on here. That's true. That's true. One of our cats ran away. Um, Although this is a long time ago, right after we first got her, and she disappeared for like 2 weeks, and then one day the neighbors just brought her over, and they were like, "Is this your cat?" And we're like, "Yes, thank you." So that was wild. All right, so how's everybody doing tonight? That candle is causing this camera to like flicker and be weird. I'm gonna move it out. I'm gonna move it out of the way. Actually, there we go. Let's get rid of that. All right, so tonight we're going to talk about another cult, not as horrible as last week, not as horrible as Jonestown. I thought we'd talk about Heaven's Gate this week. Heaven's Gate they actually still exist. They actually still have a website that's ran. It's up. People actually maintain it. They still have several members. I don't know how many. I didn't dive that deep into it, but so Heaven's Gate it did end sad, kind of the same way that and I don't know. Now I'm frozen. I always get so weirded out when I start being live. I haven't researched this one quite as much as Jonestown, but there is quite a lot. They were around for a long time. They were founded in 1974 by two members. Oh my God, are we going to do this tonight? It'd be Marshall Applewhite and Bonnie Nettles. There's a lot of discrepancies on how they met in like different stories. The most common story about how they met was that Marshall Applewhite was in a mental institution to treat his homosexuality, and Bonnie was a nurse there, and that's how they met. And a lot of there's like I said, there's a lot of different stories. Like some people say that she was a patient there too, or he was there. He was, I don't know. There's too many different ones. But so those two met, and they started talking a lot about spirituality and reading a lot about different religious ideologies, and they just didn't feel like anything really fit them. And then at some point they came to the revelation that they were, and I don't even know. I mean, they shift their views quite a bit. At one point they thought that they were like not really the reincarnation of like Jesus, but they believed in an evolutionary level above human being, and that our bodies, our physical bodies, are just vessels or vehicles, containers for our spiritual being. that is not of this planet. They were basically like commonly called like a UFO cult. Bonnie and Marshall, after a while, they started calling themselves T and Doe, amongst other things. They had a lot of different nicknames. They called themselves Guinea and Pig, and T and Doe. What was the other? There was a couple more. Bo and Peep. Bo and Peep were a couple other names. So, but most of the time they ended up going by Doe and T, and Doe was Marshall Applewhite, and T was Bonnie Nettles. They started recruiting people into their belief system of, we're alien beings inhabiting these bodies, and someday they're going to lift us out of our bodies and take us back to this spaceship that they called it like a Tela, stood for the evolutionary level above human. Strange stuff. And so they actually had quite a few followers for a while. In the 70s, there was so many different, I don't want to say cults, but there was a lot of different religious movements going around. This is the same time that, Jonestown was going on. And there was just so much. And a lot of people were experimenting with drugs and kind of exploring that spirituality. They were kind of moving away from their parents' traditional religious views. And so they would recruit people through newspaper ads, word of mouth, and a lot of, after a while, they kind of became this nomadic group. They would they'd live in the desert, and then they would live in, maybe on a compound somewhere. Eventually, they did end up living in California, which is where this tale will end, unfortunately. Let's see here. I feel like I'm missing out on a lot of stuff. So these two preached that. So we're alien. There were also like bad aliens that came to influence people, and they were the Luciferians. And I didn't read too much into that. I didn't go down that rabbit hole too far. But so they had this belief that they would rise out of their bodies. In 1985, Bonnie Nettles died. T died. And she was actually more the leader than Marshall was. She was his rock, his foundation, his everything. And when she died, it kind of left him alone to lead this group. And they had said, hey, we're going to rise out of our bodies. And then all of a sudden she died. So obviously he had some sort of problem to deal with there. You can't tell people you're going to rise out of your body and then you just, and then somebody died. So eventually he came to the conclusion that we had to die to exit our physical being here on Earth. And but after Bonnie died and they moved into this compound in California, and this is all from the period of 1974 all the way up until 1997. So this is over a period of time. The members that were left, everything got really strict. They had to try to leave behind their human, not necessarily emotions, but there was a lot of things that humans do that weren't acceptable for that higher level. Gender was one thing. Everybody dressed pretty much the same. Everybody got the same haircut. They all took on new names that ended with Odie, like Jim Odie, Dan Odie, everything ended with Odie except for Doe. He was just Doe. And so they all lived in this mansion in California. So the haircuts were the same. They dressed pretty similar. It was a lot of trying to... Thank you. A lot of trying to let go of our human condition, basically. Like, there was a lot of discipline. Relationships were not allowed. Physical contact, especially of a sexual nature, was looked down upon. Doe, actually, they went down to Mexico. Doe and a couple of... Hi, Dez. Hi, Mel. They actually went down to Mexico and voluntarily had themselves castrated. Marshall Applewhite, Doe, the leader of the group, was actually the one who initiated that, and he did it too. And not a lot of people did this, but a couple did. A couple did. Because he thought that sexuality was not like becoming of the the next level. There was no sexuality. And there was a lot of that, like a lot of fasting and trying to create a genderless group. Yeah, that's pretty much where I was going with that. Like, then that's with the whole haircuts and everything. And no, there was no excess. Like, he led from the front. He did. And see, and this is, even though I'm kind of stammering over the story here and making it very, very vague, that was one of the things I wanted to talk about today, was the kind of the difference between Jonestown and Heaven's Gate. Because you had Jim Jones, who was this horrible narcissist, and this just, like, if George was charismatic, he'd be fucking Jim Jones. I could see it. And then you had Doe, who was this very meek, gentle soul, and he was quite interesting. I don't even know if I consider him crazy. He had some interesting beliefs, but I think the main difference between Jim Jones and Marshall Applewhite is that Applewhite actually believed the stuff that he was preaching. Like, he was all in. I mean, he didn't... Yeah, gross. He wasn't like trying to take 10 wives and fuck little girls and steal everybody's money. I guess they did take the money. They didn't like say, you have to give us your money, but a lot of people brought their money and gave it to him. And but that wasn't his... I mean, they needed money to like pay rent and buy food and stuff like that. So they had to maintain. I mean, when you have a house full of 40 people, you got to maintain. And so when the Hale-Bop comet was coming by, fighting his sexuality, he definitely was. Definitely was. I think he was probably... I mean, even if he was like homosexual, it wasn't that fact that he didn't like. It was the fact that he had sexuality at all. Like, he wanted to be asexual, and whether he maintained that in his own mind or not, that's one of the things we'll never know. But the Hale-Bop comet was coming along, and about the time that Waco, everything happened in Waco with the Branch Davidians, Applewhite saw all this stuff going down, and he's saying, damn, they're going to come in here and kill us. He's like, what are our options here? Like, originally their plan was just to wait until they naturally exited their vehicles, whatever you want to call them. But then it seemed like that wasn't going to be an option. And so they were looking up ways to... They had different options as to how to end things. And he didn't... Marshall Applewhite was not a violent person. He didn't see the fight that happened at Waco being a possibility for his group. And so they decided on a more quiet way of exiting. Their belief was that The Hale-Bop comet was leading a vessel, the vessel that would pick them up, the Tela, the evolutionary level above human vessel, was riding in the tail of the Hale-Bop comet. And so they knew they had to, if they wanted to catch a ride, they had to exit their vehicles, so to speak. And so over 3 days, and I actually wrote the numbers down, but I don't remember what they were. 39 people, including Doe, Marshall Applewhite, took large doses of phenobarbital mixed with either applesauce or pudding, washed it down with vodka, and then put plastic bags over their heads, and then laid down. And so each night, I know one, like it was like 19 one day, 19 the next day, and then the rest of the people on the third day. $5.75, that's right. $5 bill and 3 quarters in your pocket. That's $5.75 was the boarding fee. Everybody had on Nike Decades. Comet, yeah. Oh, I knew what you meant. Nike Decades were the shoes. They said the reason that they bought those specifically was because they got a good deal on the shoes. Everybody wore the same track outfits. They all had the same purple shrouds put over by other members of the group after cheaper than the bus. Actually, one person said something about they would always carry that amount of money on them because they were so nomadic that they would sometimes get picked up for vagrancy, and so the $5 was for the vagrancy fee, and then the quarters were for the telephone. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if so. But I did hear them, like somebody in the group said that was a boarding fee, and that could have been like some sort of inside joke. I don't know, but they did all have it. So, hey, I laughed. I laughed. These are some strange people, and I'm telling you right now, I inappropriately laugh at a lot of this stuff. My God, those tracksuits, the Nikes. I mean, that's like a stereotype now. Like if I see people walking around with an outfit that looks like that, I'm like, oh, they're in the fucking cult, man. So 3 days, 3 shifts. They drank the poison, covered their face up with plastic, and then the people who were still alive after they had passed would take off the plastic, lay them out, and then put the purple shroud over for their dignity and privacy. And I think that's kind of a nice thing to do. See, I said the same thing. Yep. If you see me looking down, I have my it's like this is my fidget spinner, but it's a bone. It's and then the last 2 people that passed still had the plastic on because there was no one to help them in that aspect. So they had mailed packages to people saying, we've exited our vehicles. They actually made everybody made audio recordings of their exit interviews. It was like just a little visual piece of everybody saying that they're happy to go. This is what they want. They're not coerced. They're not brainwashed. I don't know about that. Was it like a group mind? Was it so much peer pressure, or I actually tend to think after watching those interviews, I've watched them several times now, including Doe's final interview. Nah, I think it's like a leg bone or something. I do have clavicles though. Not from humans, I mean, but I lost where I was going with that. I don't know. They all seemed pretty happy, and I know that Marshall's appearance is pretty darn. Let me pull up. I think I have a picture here of Marshall Applewhite. Oh, here we go. Now it's going to do that thing where it doesn't actually show it. Like on here on the window thing. That's pretty bogus. Oh, here we go. Well, shoot, I don't know if that's showing or not. Select a tab to share. Screen sharing was canceled. Well, it must have worked for about a minute there because it worked for, yeah. And then we have share screen, window, and then it doesn't show the window. And here's kind of that's their little logo that they had drawn up, and at the bottom it said away team. And those were actually sewn onto the armbands that they wore on their exit outfit, I guess you would call it. And so 39 people. This was actually the largest mass suicide in U.S. history. U.S. history, not counting things overseas, because obviously that was only 39 people versus the 900 and something over at Jonestown. These were all adults. I believe the youngest was 24 or 26, and the oldest was 72. And I think Applewhite was like the oldest, and he looked pretty rough in his exit. And I actually think I have a picture of that too, because he looked really rough. No, I didn't get a picture of it, but I actually do have kind of a trigger warning here. I have a picture here. See, sometimes this works and sometimes it doesn't. It messes me up. I guess I could pull them up in Chrome tabs next time instead of trying to find windows for them. Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. And I don't know what I'm doing wrong with it, and I still can't figure that out, so whatever. Yeah. Then it asks you, are you having issues? Yeah, I'm having issues. This thing's being a butthole. Oh, well, whatever. I can't get it up there now. Ugh. Why? Make sure you click share. I was clicking share. Present. Share screen. Window. Chrome tab. Oh, God. I hate this. I hate this thing. I'm going to try it one more time. Oh, yeah, it's not going to work now. I don't. Oh, here we go. Here's kind of a picture. Not kind of. This is an actual picture of one of the, I guess you would call it, victims. And that's pretty much what they all look like. I mean, they really, that's what they all look like. So, yeah, that's that. I don't know, you guys. I kind of crapped out a little bit there. See, now I can't even get the other thing back. Oh, there we go. So that's pretty much it. I mean, this, and they all tried to live like monks almost. Trying to be very disciplined, and there was a lot of, I don't know, a lot of this stuff doesn't really feel cultish to me. Some of it does, but a lot of it doesn't. It's kind of a tough call. And so on March 26, 1997 is when they found the group, and they were all deceased. And then over the next couple of days, a few more people that weren't living at the compound or the house, I guess it wasn't a compound, they actually exited their vehicles willingly by their own hand as well. And a couple tried and failed. The exit interviews are pretty interesting. You can find those on YouTube real easy. That dealing with that picture sharing thing, it really that really just distracted me to the point of no return. I think I'm going to do like a practice stream where I just sit here and mess around with that setting and try to figure that all out. So does anybody have any thoughts about this? I kind of pooped out on it a little bit. I'm sorry, you guys. I mean, I don't know. I've read so much about this. Yeah, and that's one of the things that I feel like was a little bit different about Heaven's Gate versus other cults, is that people were free to leave. They actually bought them plane tickets home or bus tickets. And then some people actually left and then went back. And they had quite a few people at one point. They had a few hundred people, I think. But I think once it started really boiling down to where they were living so strictly, and the requirements got tighter and tighter about eating and sleeping, and I don't think it was quite the same as, it wasn't the same kind of thing where they were starving like in Jonestown, and he wasn't keeping them up all night for the sleep deprivation. It was more just very rigid rules, kind of like a monastery. I mean, it really was. I'm trying to think. I know there's more details to this, and I just cannot bring them up. I don't know what happened. Deep dive into the day in the life of a gator, my suggestion. Well, I mean, everything was so rigid. Everybody pretty much did the same thing. They did work. They did have jobs, some of them. Everybody woke up at the same time. I don't really know the intimate details of how their day went. If I've heard that, I don't remember. I know that there was some footage of them doing a Thanksgiving dinner. And everybody seemed, everybody was joking and laughing, and I was listening to another podcast about this one, the same that I did with the Jonestown one. Was there morning coffee? I doubt it, because alcohol was definitely out, no drugs, so coffee was probably a no-go. Did they leave for work together? I don't know if they left the house together or if they worked different hours. I know that they didn't all have the same job. Some of them had tech jobs. Some of them had, yeah, I doubt it too. I know at least a couple people had tech jobs. Some people they pretty much just grabbed up jobs wherever they could get them, because for so many years they were moving from place to place to place. So none of the jobs were really that stable. And I know that they did have some legal professionals, and there was quite a few different professions that were represented in this group. I mean, A lot of these people had college educations. There was some nurses in there. There was uh, like tech people. It wasn't just like a country bumpkin. Like, actually, that I don't know either. They were very, very private. They didn't let a lot of people into their lives. Of course, most cults are pretty private. And so a lot of the details of what went on day to day, we're not really sure. But here's another interesting fact. The day before they started the mass exodus, I guess I'm going to call it, they went to, it was like Marie Callender's restaurant or something. I can't, it was pretty much like a Perkins, if you know what that is, or like kind of like a Waffle House. Marie Callender's, and they all ate the same exact thing. Chicken pot pie, I think, blueberry, like crumble or something. They all had the exact same meal the night before. And everybody that was at the restaurant thought that was really weird, but the people, I guess, they acted normal while they were there. So, are you still seeing something else? I don't know what I hit there. So, I mean, I'm not sure if I think everybody ate together because I know that they cooked together. But yeah, there's that. That's a thing now. So that's I don't know. I just it was so I feel like it's so different because when you listen to these audio tapes of Applewhite, you can tell that he has some problems. He's pretty cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. But he also like seemed like such a gentle person. And even hearing some of the private, well, they weren't really private. He recorded them, but like conversations. He mailed a cassette tape to Bonnie Nettles to her daughter after she had passed away, and you can hear like the true emotion in his voice. Like he seemed like he really cared about people, and I think he just didn't know what to do when she was gone. I mean, she was their leader, and he was, even though he was too, everything kind of, she was the one who brought everything up, and kind of, and he was like the henchman basically. And so once he was thrown into that leadership position, he just didn't know what to do. And I lost the picture I thought I downloaded of him at his exit interview, but if you watch it, you'll hear him cough a lot, and his color just looks so bad. I think he looks like he has cancer to me. I think he was dying, and maybe he just didn't want to die alone. I don't know. I have a hard time. And there's this thing about oversharing on the internet, but I'm going to. I am torn on this because I'm torn between feeling sorry for him, like feeling bad, like this guy, his life partner, who they weren't sexually involved. It was all, what are you doing up there? What's up there? Like she died, left him by himself. No, Genzel, because isolation is within every cult is occasionally the people were allowed to call their families and talk to them, but it wasn't like straight like you can't talk to your family, but it was a little bit of pressure. I feel like everybody wanted to fit in. They didn't want to, like, I think it was a lot of this, I think, was peer pressure versus brainwashing and versus fear. I don't think the fear factor was there. And I think that's really what it boils down to as far as Jonestown, when they were there, when they went to Guyana, they took their passports, there was people with guns around, they're like, this is how it's gonna be, the threats, the white nights, the sleep deprivation. That fear wasn't there. I think it was almost built on more trust. They trusted each other. They had this was their like new family. I mean, and I don't like that because that means they gave up their old family, but there wasn't as much fear and hatred. I think this was actually a cult that was based more around faith and caring and trust. And they all trusted Doe to lead them the right way. And unfortunately, I doubt that the spaceship was coming to pick them up. I mean, I could be wrong, but I don't think so. Apparently, in 2,000 years, we'll get another chance to ride the spaceship, though. If they said that they do believe in reincarnation. If you didn't like get your chance to look at that bingo wing, bingo. If you didn't get your chance to ride the spaceship in '97, apparently in 2,000 years there will be another chance. So we're like our souls or whatever, like recycled into human bodies until we get the chance to evolve to this next level. So we'll see. We'll see what happens in 2,000 years. Or, 900, 1,900, however many. I imagine the mindfuck if he was right. And that's the thing. I don't believe this stuff at all. Like, not even a little bit. But sometimes I think, like, what if he's right? What if he was right? How fucked up was that? Or what if you didn't have your 575? Was it furthest from Earth in its orbit? Well, I mean, the spaceship could beam you up. They even said that. Well, somebody actually said that in the exit interview. They're like 39 to beam up, and everybody laughed. They were actually big Star Trek nerds, and if I could see myself joining any of these cults, that would probably be the one. I mean, I'm pretty nerdy like that, but I can't buy that. I don't know. I feel like, and again with the oversharing, I feel the same way about most religions, like Christianity, like Baptist and Pentecostal and God assemblies. I don't know, the ones where they're speaking in tongues and handling snakes. It's like our way or the highway. And then when you die, your spirit goes to this place, but if you're bad, it goes to this other place. And that sounds just as much made up as this other bullshit. So if that's true and that's a legit religion, why isn't this? And that's the kind of stuff that fucks me up about these cults. I mean, like the ones that are obviously for one person's benefit, like again with Jonestown, Branch Davidians, basically most of the other cults, fucking Nexium, the Anthill kids. I don't know. I feel like a lot of religions are pretty much. It's like a hydra with it's all different heads, but all on the same body. Like, and in my mind, Christianity and Catholicism. I can't really speak for Islam and some of those because I don't know that much about them. But like Flying Spaghetti Monster, exactly. It's all the same bullshit spun into. I mean, just in my mind, I'm not trying to say anybody's religion is bullshit, but in my mind, it just one thing isn't more believable than the next thing. The emperor is a puss from the greater good. The BS usually sounds the same. It does, and I don't know. I don't. And then you have stuff like, and this is stupid, but I think the closest thing, and of course, like it's all made up. I make this shit up too, except for I made up my own. Is like, oh my god, you guys are gonna laugh when you hear this. Like Star Wars, like the Force, or like if anybody played Final Fantasy VII, like the life stream. I feel like whatever energy is inside of us just goes back to back to the earth, back to wherever. The human body does produce energy. That's a scientific fact. And also a scientific fact is that energy doesn't just disappear. It has to go somewhere. So when you die, where does that energy go? It has to go somewhere. Whether it's even just into the decomposition process, I could accept that too. But I think that whatever is in us just kind of goes out. Like, so there's not a conscious, in my mind, not a conscious afterlife, but yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. And that makes the most sense to me. But again, everybody has different like thought processes. Everybody has different beliefs, you know. A lot of it is we believe what we were raised to believe. And with Heaven's Gate, there was nobody born into that. There was no children involved. In fact, part of the rules to be involved was you had to be over 18. That was like a rule, and I can appreciate that, like more than you know. Like there was no kid diddling, no taking everybody's wives and fucking them. And as far as like Jim Jones is horrible shit down here, and then like that brings Heaven's Gate up to like a higher level for me. Yeah, pretty much. It's like I don't know, like it's so like I said, the closest I can compare it to would be like the forest or the live stream. Like I don't believe like the souls of all these people are just chilling around like ghosts all over the place. Like, but that energy has to go somewhere, even if it's into other plants and animals. I don't know. And you can definitely see something go out of people when they die. I mean, not literally like you don't like see the ghost rising up or anything, but there's a definite difference. Like it's just instantaneous. Like it feels like they're empty. And I've watched a lot of people die, and not like in a weird way. I mean, I've been a nurse for a long time and working with hospice patients and in the nursing home. I've held a lot of people's hands while they died, and just instantly you can see it. Oh no, he'd probably like that, Deus. Whatever I can't, yeah, whatever the worst thing that he would fucking hate, I hope he's getting that. Like I like to say I hope he's getting pegged in the ass, but not in a good way. He was a horrible piece of shit, and I'm glad he's dead. But he didn't have to take all those people with him. And the worst thing about all of that is all that death, and it didn't do shit. It didn't do anything. It did nothing. It was a waste. And not saying that even if the end does not justify the means, but nothing happened. And it's sad. It's really sad. And I did forget to he or she. Yeah. Okay, yeah, now you're talking. That's pretty much, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if people, because sometimes people say that they can control that or they can like channel it. I don't know if that's a thing. I never really looked that much into it, or if I believe that it's the thing. I should say. I mean, I believe in a lot of weird stuff. I think maybe some people can manipulate their bodies with and energies with like their extreme discipline. Um, I know that like mind over body is definitely a real thing. I mean, we have something that's physically proven called biofeedback, where, and I can actually do this a little bit. If you focus on your breathing and your body, like you can slow your heart rate, you slow your breathing, you can slow your heart rate, lower your blood pressure. A lot of that is just knowing which processes within your physiology activate and deactivate other processes. So when you do slow, deep breathing, that activates your, and I always get them backwards, parasympathetic, sympathetic. One is the flight or fight, and the other one is like the relaxation. I think it's the parasympathetic. And it makes your heart rate and everything slow down. So you kind of have to force it, like, not really force it, but you got to focus on it. Metaphysical exercise and all things can use chi. Yeah, that's chi, I think, is a really good way of putting it. It's the natural energy that resides within each thing, especially living beings, but I believe even inanimate things can have a certain level. How the energy is manipulated that determines the effect. Right? And see, and this is where we kind of go from the realm of metaphysical into physical and like scientific, because I think a lot of this is science that we just haven't figured out how to do yet. Like the thing with the breathing and slowing down, like at some point people realize that physically this is what's happening. You have this system in your body, and if you do this, it activates a different system. And I think it's just the same as that, except for haven't figured out we just haven't figured it out yet. I mean, you think about way back in the day, they thought that demons or bad blood or spirits caused illness, and now we know about germs. It's to think that we know everything already is that's fucking narcissism right there. I mean, we don't know shit. And so it's the scientific exploration and discoveries of of everything. I mean, anything that things we haven't even fathomed yet. Alpha wave therapy, isn't that like with meditation? Do a Cope's chi ball. What the fuck is a chi ball? Dude, I'm telling you, I have not been watching Cobes. I used to like Cobes a lot, but he's going down a weird path, man. He's doing Duster and stuff, and I'm like, man, and then he like shits on all of his fans and just he most of the time he doesn't leave chat on in his streams, and I like watching the chat. Sometimes he's boring without it. I don't know. I feel like Cobes is kind of becoming a villain. Like he's so a chi ball, like an 8 ball. I would recommend nobody do an 8 ball. Alrighty? Just saying. He's famous for them. Shit. Surprised I've never seen him. Or maybe I have and I just didn't know it. Cove's chi balls. Is that a drink? I mean, or is that like when he's casting his circle of protection or whatever? Yeah, it is, and I think that's really sad because like when I first started watching Cobes, like a color, or when I first started watching Cobes, I thought he really had potential. Like he was a doofus, and maybe all of his how do I put this, like thought processes weren't quite clear. I feel like he said stupid shit, but I felt like his heart was in the right place. Like, I don't know. And this is going to sound really sexist, but you know what I think Cobes really needed? And it might be too late. A girlfriend. He needs a woman to like not beat him into submission. That's not what I'm looking for, but he needs somebody to help him like straighten his shit out. Yeah. Yeah. Cobes, I don't know. He's definitely some sort of lolcow. I mean, but he just, I don't know. I don't even know how to feel about Cobes. I say he's becoming a villain, but I just mean like from what I used to think that it's like his mindset is changing now. He's very, very full of himself, and he didn't used to be. He used to be more humble, and now he's like, I'm a big YouTube star, you know. Yeah, but I mean, a lot of people watch him, but he's not really a star. He's just somebody we fucking watch and laugh at, you know? Right. Well, he hasn't moved. He's a low cow, but not a horror cow. Like, he's not. And I actually quote him all the time. In fact, I did it today. Can't remember what I was talking about. Something about a goth, of age, non-related girlfriend. So, yeah. I don't know how he got talking about Cobes. Oh, and then he's always, and then it's so ridiculous because he's always going on about the power of the Dark Lord, and I'm like, that's the same bullshit that we're hearing from the other side, dude. It's the same bullshit, just spun to the other direction. You know, like it makes you look edgy, it makes you look cool, but it doesn't. You just look like a weirdo. And here I am talking about fucking chi in the forest, the fucking live stream. But yeah, funny stuff. Cisgendered, alive, non-related. Fuck. Oh, of age. Of age. What's the last one? Alive, not related. Cisgendered. Of age. Consenting. Gotta be consenting. Yeah. That's the rule. That's the rule, YouTubes. So, I mean, in that aspect at least, and I really truly believe that he really hates pedos. Like, he hates sickos. Fuck sickos, tubes. He needs to learn to love himself first. Until then, he'll sabotage relationships. Yeah, and with the. And not only. Well, I think he's loving himself too much right now, or at least pretending to, because he's coming across very conceited. But he's really not. Like, inside, he's just this lonely, sad little boy. And also, and I don't know if this is an autistic thing, but I feel like he wants to go all out. Yeah, get out of here, Lewis. Guess what? That's my middle bone finger for you. Yeah, I cut myself earlier today. I got my Band-Aid. I was on the phone with the school because I was getting ready. I'm going to take some motorcycle lessons, and I had to call the college for something, and I had a rock that had some like algae on it, and I was scraping the algae off of it, and then I slipped and I cut myself really bad while I was on the phone. It bled all over the place. You think Coates was a victim of sexual molestation? That wouldn't surprise me because he is, I don't want to say special needs, but if the shoe fits. A lot of the time that, like those types of people, and that sounds bad. Like, I suspect that I may be on the spectrum myself, actually strongly suspect. I'm in the process of working on getting a diagnosis right now. But people who have more severe symptoms, I guess I should say, make easier targets for that. And I can see some, I don't know. I see where you're coming from. I just don't know. I don't know specifically what symptoms I'm looking at with him. Yeah, I don't know. I can just see it though. I mean, that would not surprise me at all. It would surprise me if he wasn't, actually. Oh, Cobes. Good old Cobes. And I feel really bad about his drinking. Yeah, and then you have your like gender relations stuff, and I think he's just, and a lot of the advice he gives is actually pretty good. I mean, like, I've told Eugene lots of times. I say, Cobes would actually make a really good boyfriend. He did make a mistake with Stephanie. He cheated on her, but I think he learned from that. I really do. I think that's a lesson that he learned. Like, I don't know. Yeah, I hate sickos too. Cobes' gender relations. When he gets on those rants, it's just. Oh, and what I was saying about him, the autism thing, is I think he goes all in on a relationship, like, instantly. Like, the second he meets a chick, he's, like, all in love with her, right? Like, just totally just, oh my God, I want you to have my babies, fucking marry me and all this. I mean, I'm not saying, like, literally that, but that's kind of the feeling that I get, is that right away he's, like, I just know it. He's, like, super into them. And that weirds a lot of chicks out. It weirds me out. I mean, not just being, like, into somebody, but I don't know. I've dated a guy that was too nice. Like, literally, just hung on every word. And I'm like, dude, really? Argue a little. Let's have a fight, you know? So I don't, and I you know, I'm pretty new to the whole lolcow scene. Like, I just learned about Chris Chan, like, fuck, I want to say like 3 years ago. Maybe not even that long. No, yeah, 3 years ago. That sounds about right. And I didn't even know, like, what a lolcow was. And then, like, so then Eugene had to school me on that. And then he talked about horror cows. And I'm like, oh, what's a horror cow? And then he fucking let me, he played, or he had me listen to that thing about the snake thing. And fucking, he's gonna get catfish. Oh God, yes. I mean, look at, there's already been people, fucking, what was it, Bianca? Or was that, well, I know Blanca was Christian, but wasn't there like a Isabel or something? There was a couple of them that, like, it was supposed to be like, oh God, his buddy, whatever his fucking stupid tweaker buddy is, like, made up some chick that wasn't even real. And, like, Ginzel. Okay, yeah, that's what I was like. Isabel, what was her fucking name? Fucking Gucci's. Fuck Gucci's. I mean, I've only seen like a little bit of her stuff, but fuck her, she seems like a bitch. I mean, here I am talking a bunch of shit on the internet, but she just seems so cringy. Like, chicks, who acts like that? Who fucking acts like that? It's gross. And then there's Gothy. Oh, Gothy. And of course, Gothy Mel says, yeah, Gothy. Goddamn Zubat looking motherfucker. Like, hasn't she ever heard of a partial? Get a fucking bridge. Get a fucking chiclet and stick it in there. Something, anything. It doesn't. And then she, like, oh God, and she fucks Cyrax. Oh God. I can't even. Like, I would literally fucking, this bone is cleaner than that. Well, actually it is. It's been sanitized. Female version of Gigi, I don't know, man. She's not, like, fat, but I bet she smells, and I bet she has all kinds of gross stuff, especially if she fucks Cyrax. I can't. He literally grosses me out. I can't even. Like, we talk about George, we talk a lot of shit. George is gross. I have grossed out on some of the stuff before with George, but Cyrax legit fucking grosses me out. He's got scabs all over and fucking butt worms and rashes and nastiness and fucking calculus on his teeth. I mean, my teeth are yellow because I smoke and drink a lot of coffee, but they're clean. And, ugh, god damn. Like, one time when I was doing something with Eugene, and he had, all of a sudden, he popped up this giant fucking cock, and I'm like, oh my God, what is that? And it was on this, like, his computer monitor was like a big old TV, like a 32-incher. And I was like, what the fuck is that thing? And he's like, that was Cyrax's dick. And I'm like, fuck no. No, you can't unsee it. Period shits. Why? That's the only, everybody knows about period shits, all right? That's a thing. Yes, Mel, yes. Yeah. I can't unsee it. I think it was the morning that I read the Gigi emails, because I remember I was really sick and I screamed out loud when I saw it, and I think I was still on stream. He raxed you. Yeah, basically. He just popped it up out of nowhere. Fucking 32-inch fucking expansion of it right in my face. All gnarly and with weird spots on it that shouldn't be there. God damn. Like, if for some reason he ever hears this, they make a pill for those worms, dude. They make a pill for that. You don't have to have that. Take some garlic tablets. Same thing with Gigi and the fucking like scabies. I mean, they make a shampoo for that. You just like rub it on your body, you let it set, you wash it off. You know, you gotta wash all your shit. I mean, it can't cost more than a few bucks to wash your entire home since you live in a van. Like these people, there's no reason to be that gross. There really isn't. Well, yeah, I can't disagree. I can't disagree. Well, who are you talking about now? Cyrex? Did he do that too? That's like, I thought that was just a Christian thing. Oh my God. Have you guys ever heard of, and I'm sure you have, because when I heard this podcast about this dude, and his name was Nick Bates. Fucking Nick Bates, man. The shit eating guy who molested his sister and stuff. What am I even going on about? I've derailed my entire stream. Whatever. This is like a psychological. I'm going to shout out Dr. Amir here because I love the psychological, like, deep dives that he does on all this stuff. Need to watch a catch up, Doc. It seems. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on. Oh, God, why? And what's the fascination with eating jizz? Like, I don't get that. Okay, legit. That's probably one of the grossest things that maybe not the grossest things I've ever seen, but it comes out of nowhere, and it's really bad. I mean, that's really bad because like worms gross me out. Any kind, even like maggots, earthworms are okay, but everything else, like, get the fuck out of here. Like earthworms, snakes are fine, but maggots, parasites are what gets me, bud. Yeah. Nick Bates, that sick ass motherfucker. I'm glad he's still in jail. He like made up this song about, I can't, because of people cutting and pasting, I'm not gonna fucking repeat it, but he made a song that was about doing horrible things to unconsenting underage related people. Why? Just fucking why? It's not a thing, man. Our kids are, I don't see how people can look at a small child and think of anything that way. I mean, they're so, oh my God, the cat's gonna barf like while I'm trying to stream. You gotta be kidding me, get out of here. But yeah, now everybody gets to hear it. I'm gonna like mute that mic for a minute. But I don't know. Kids are so innocent, and there's nothing about them that is appealing in that way. I mean, at all. It's fucking gross. I mean, it's legit gross. And so where I want to know what part of the brain is broken that these people have that disturbing. I mean, like, having a foot fetish is one thing. Like, okay, if you like feet, I couldn't care. Like, I'm not kink shaming that. Like, I have some like stuff that I like, but nothing like gross. Like, well, I know you're used to it, so yeah. Sorry about the cat barfing. Like, I'm gonna have to. Yeah, she's having a hairball over there. So I don't know, these people. The horror cows are the worst. And animals, like, we all know that thing that went on a few months back with certain furry people who do things to animals. Like I don't like to say stuff because like I know there are people like Eugene out there who are cutting and pasting people's words into other songs. And so anything you say can be altered to make it sound like it's not what you really said, and I'm sure they could if they really tried hard enough, but uh, the internet is a frustrating place to be. YouTube, you can't even say words like certain words because of monetization, which I don't give a fuck about. But like they can flag you for community standards, and like you can tell how old a video is when you're watching it. Yeah, like basically, I basically, and I hate to bring it back to codes, but it doesn't have, they don't have to be cisgendered, I guess, but like of age, alive, non-related, consenting. It doesn't. They like I said, for me, they don't have to be cisgendered, but other than that, though, Cobes has it. He has it down. Like that's yeah. After you barf, you're gonna go up there and sit there and look all cute after you just puked all over the place. The adult thing is a hard line. Well, that's definitely a requirement. I mean, the person has to be like, and I think the age of consent is too fucking low. I mean, I don't like. Excuse me. Where I live, the age of consent is 16, and those are just little kids. I mean, they're just little kids. I mean, I remember being 16 and thinking I was like, I'm grown. I'm a grown woman. No, 16-year-olds are fucking kids. I mean, they're little kids too. But then it's like, I do agree with the Romeo and Juliet laws that are like, like if they're within 4 years of each other, so like a 18-year-old could date a 16-year-old because that's not really like the second you turn 18, like a 17-year-old doesn't become off limits to you. So I think that actually is okay. But if you're like a 25-year-old and you're dating a 14-year-old, you get the fuck out of town. Well, yeah, yeah. And thankfully that I don't know, like I just think about how many kids are not careful with what they're doing, and like teen pregnancy, which I think is on the decrease right now. I don't know. I'm pretty like reclusive. I just like shut myself in and fucking I watch a lot of stuff online, but not like more like mysteries and basically the stuff I talk about here. So I don't know. I barely even watch the news anymore. It's just a bunch of bullshit. I mean, I kind of got out of watching the news when COVID was more severe. I guess I don't. I hate saying like, oh, when COVID was a thing. COVID's still a fucking thing. It's just not quite as dangerous as it was. It is, like I've finally started to feel older. Like I'm not cool and young anymore. I mean, I was never cool, but I used to be young. And the younger generation, they, they're. I think they're still the same. I mean, you think about how fucking when you were younger and the shit you used to do. I'm like, oh, these kids, these kids. I was the same fucking way, dude. Stopped watching the news a long time ago. Honestly, you know why I don't watch the news? Because we got rid of our fucking cable, and I can't figure out how to use the goddamn antenna to get the local channels. And it was one of those ones, they say something about some black box or something. It's supposed to be the one that would like let you get them or whatever. Oh, fuck that. Fuck technology. Fucking bullshit. I can't even run this fucking stream. I don't know. Watching the news during COVID times was pretty hard for me. So, like, I saw enough of it in first person, so I didn't want to fucking watch it on the news all day either. And there's a lot of like political stuff going on at the time, and you got people like Donald Trump talking about fucking, blow away and disappear like in a breeze and or whatever, fucking. And then the guy who's like, use Christ's power to blow it away. Fuck you, dude. Horror movies, the 6 o'clock news. Yeah, it really is. See, and that's something I just recently learned is how much mainstream media is like so biased. And it's either biased one way or another, but you're not getting the truth no matter what. I mean, either way, it's a bunch of everything's fucking bullshit. Everything is skewed. Everything is like opinions. Even things that are supposed to be facts are fucking opinions now. Like whatever happened to people just reporting, like this is what happened. Okay, this is what happened today. 39 people were found dead inside of a, California mansion today. That's a fact. That's a reported fact. But then, like, even the way that they report the facts is skewed. Like, because they can portray it in a, just by subtle things like camera angles, tones of voice, they could portray one thing as bad and the next person portray it as good, all based on these tiny little social cues that we don't really pick up on consciously. And I've looked a lot into that too, about how to, like how color schemes and tones, music and settings, certain words, like can influence people one way or another without them realizing it. It's kind of and I studied a lot of body language too. So, yeah, that's a thing. I know, but it's not entertaining though. I mean, it shouldn't be entertaining. Like the news shouldn't be fucking entertaining. It's news. You're not watching it to be entertained. You're watching it to fucking know what's going on. I want to see the weather. I want to see like if somebody got robbed, I want to fucking know about it. Like, like is something happening? Like, is there like a craft fair coming up or like, you know what I mean? Like I want news. I don't want to be entertained. If I want to be entertained, I'll go watch a fucking movie. Actually, I don't have the attention span for a movie anymore. I can't sit still for it. All right, everybody. I guess I should end this. I've been just rambling for like half an hour. Does anybody have any final thoughts or any questions or related to the stream, unrelated to the stream? Anything? Anything? Well, if nobody has any final thoughts, then I will go ahead and end this stream. My next planned stream was supposed to be not this coming Saturday, but the one after that. So next Saturday, but I have some prior engagements that I need to deal with, so I won't be able to stream on that day. And so I don't really have a new day plan, so just kind of whenever. Next topic. Oh shit. I really want to talk about the Alaskan Avenger. I know nobody really wanted nobody really voted for that except for Deus, but like ever since I read that, because I wrote that down in a note a long time ago, that was one of my topics. And so I think I'm gonna that would be probably like a short one because it's not really a long convoluted. So, and like even the stories that should be long, I just freeze up and I leave half of it out. So, the Alaskan Avenger, and I might talk if that one's short enough. I might talk about some of these bizarre phone calls. If anybody's familiar with Henry McCabe, his disappearance and death, and the disturbing voicemail that was left. Sounded like it caped Zorro. Maybe need to hear who it is. Henry McCabe. Oh, the Alaskan Avenger is his name is Jason, and I'm gonna fuck it up. I know it. Vukovich. Vukovich. It's V. Thank you, Days. I'd have to look up the spelling of it. It's Jason Vukovich. He was, basically he robbed and beat pedos. He beat him with a hammer. Well, one guy he beat with a hammer. He didn't actually kill him, but he certainly beat their asses, and he made sure to let them know this is what's happening to you, and this is why. So, and he's in prison right now, unfortunately. But yeah, the Avenger, he's one of my fucking heroes. Like, and no, I didn't yet, but I haven't left this room, so. In fact, I forgot what it was. You better tell me one more time. Shit. But, yeah, the Avenger, he's the Alaskan Avenger. I don't believe in vigilantism. I mean, but I kind of do, I guess, because I would recommend people not to do this, but he already did it, so I'm going to be like, fuck yeah. What happened? I was talking about, we talked about a bunch of stuff, and then I was talking about the Alaskan Avenger. I think I'm going to talk about him a little bit on an extreme and maybe some disturbing phone calls. Charles Peck, the guy who got in the train crash and called a bunch of people in his family. Big boobs, big boobs, big boobs, red rum, big boobs. What a fucking doofus. God damn. If you know, you know. That whole thing, I just shaking my head on it. That was ridiculous. So, and I also want to, before next week, I want to write down the contact information because you can. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about there, Deus. Like, ugh. And he couldn't, and he just kept doubling down on it. He was like, this is satire. These are fictional characters. Blah, blah, blah. And it's like, dude, no, it doesn't, oh my God, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's a fictional character. Still, no. Fuck sickos, tubes. Oh, here he comes. Here comes Eugene. I can hear him.
It's satire, Morty. It's satire.
Big boobs, big boobs, big boobs.
Oh my fucking God! Sorry, I'll leave you alone.
Hey.
What?
Something about the Emperor being a puss from the greater good.
Huh?
The Emperor is a puss for the greater good.
I don't know what that means.
I think I fucked it up.
Come on, Marla, get out.
Just leave her in here. She's fine.
All right.
Deus wanted me to tell you something about the Emperor and puss and greater good.
I don't fucking know. I don't know.
He lost it. He's retarded. So, yeah, look at this elbow. I have a thing I'm double jointed. You really can't see it, I guess. I'm fucking like, anyway. Yeah, the system failed him. But I heard, I was telling Deus in Discord that they knocked 5 years off his sentence. Apparently, I was wrong about that. Apparently, they knocked off everything but 5 years. So he has to do 5 more years, which is still too much. Like, he's done more time than he should. Like, should he have technically gone to jail for beating up some people and robbing them and shit? Yeah, probably. But he's done more than enough time, in my opinion, so. Bowser would benefit from a little bit of that same treatment that Marshall Applewhite went to fucking Mexico for. A nice sickle to the balls. So, that's that. All right, everybody, I'm going to get off of here and go do some other shit. I don't even know what. Oh, shit. Fuck sickos. I can hear Eugene in there going, big boobs, big boobs, big boobs. Oh, shit. All right, everybody, I'm going to go ahead and end this. Thanks, everybody, for coming, and thanks, everybody, for whoever watches afterwards. And I know I was less articulate tonight than usual, but it is what it is, tubes. Stay cool. Keep it consenting and of age and non-related, alive. You know, I missed one. All right. Have a good one, everybody.